Welcome back to another Outdoors Obsessions episode. Chris Mo's here, and we're gonna fill you in on what has been happening lately. We got a little bit of change of plans, but first I want to talk about what's been going on here. As some of you may already know, the last month has been completely busy, swamped with premarital arrangements, the actual getting married, then another week of work, followed by the honeymoon week in the Boundary Waters, which we will try and attach to another episode once we get everything lined up. So that way you can see how great the fishing was and how beautiful canoeing in the wilderness in northern Minnesota looks like. It was very peaceful. A little tip, bring sunblock. It was very, very, very sunny. Anyways, so when we left off in our last episode, I had just finished tilling and seeding the clover field. We're going to take the top half of this food plot and till it up today, then come back in a few weeks, spray Roundup on anything that shoots up. Then after that, hit it with the Big and Beastie. A week after the Roundup spray, then early fall, in end of August, early September, we're going to come back with the quick plot, and that way that part of the food plot will be planted, ready to go. And what I think is going to happen is it's going to provide a nice variety of 3 different types of frigid forage products. You've got your plow down clover, which although it's not as succulent as the white clovers mixes could be, it's still going to be very tasty for the deer. It'll grow a lot hardier, so that may end up needing to be mowed. So the projects that we've got today are currently we've got some dew moisture still on the grass, and with me having so much problem with moisture, I was coming to spray the clethodim first and foremost. However, I'm going to let the wind and I'm going to let the sun dry all that excess moisture off as much as possible. So I'm going to jump to my second project and do that first, and that's going to be the tilling of well, it's now going to be a 1/4 acre or a 1/3 instead of the whole 1/2 acre. And once I finish that, I'll assess the moisture level on the ground, and if it's looking positive, we'll go ahead and spray. I've already got the sprayer mixed and ready to go. And clethodim is nice because it's not nearly as hazardous for the body and the ground vegetation as per se Roundup. So it's not that I don't have to take safety precautions, but I don't have to go to the extent that I normally would for the glyphosate in Roundup. So I'm gonna get to work here, and we'll go ahead and see how much we can get done on this wonderful Sunday, July 7th. Thanks for tuning in. So as you can see, we've got pretty strong presence of clover, as well as a very strong presence of long grasses and certain broadleaves as well. So we're going to till this up and see what else we can make of this project. Would have been nice to have everything come in the way I'd hoped, but life gets busy, and we're going to just take it one day at a time. Well, as you can see, I am not in the food plot right now. I am currently resting and cooling off in my pickup where there's air conditioning and lots of water and Gatorade. It's only 85 degrees, but with the humidity and the sun beating down, it is quite a scorcher. The tilling, yep, that's still a slow process. It's looking really great, so when I get back out there, I'll be able to show you. I did about a little over a 1/3 of the food plot tilled and found every cedar stump that still exists. So a great project for the off season next year will be to return and try and dig up some of those stumps, because they are just, I'm going to call them, chin busters, because as you're tilling, you don't pay attention, boom, that tiller jumps up and kicks like a mule. So I can call them mule kickers too. Mule kicking chin busters, I think that's going to be a thing from now on. But I'm safe, no worries. It never actually hit me. It's just a very sudden movement because they're hidden in the grass. Anyways, I am seeing on my camera that my battery is about to die, so I'm gonna stop right here and continue to cool off. And when we get a little bit more cloud cover, I'm gonna head out and load up the tiller, and I'll show you guys how the plot looks. So here we have the food plot tilled up yet again. The infamous tiller. Trail camera on that tree. And down there, trail camera hiding out on the brush pile just below the overhanging branches where the scrape's at.
I don't know whether you gotta get away from it.
Oh. Well, I don't hear it snap. Did it snap?
At Outdoorsobsessions, we enjoy seeing the youth introduced to hunting and fishing. Here's Justin from Central Iowa with his first turkey ever. Way to go. Hi everybody, we're here for another update on the ground blind food plot. I have actually increased the amount of area that we are tilling up and spraying with Roundup for the big and beastie. It's Sunday, July 28th, 29th, and we are out here again, and as you can see behind me, I have begun the post setting process, and it's already been concreted down. And what we're here today to do is hopefully get the entire floor built, and that way we can come back later and start setting walls. Things didn't go quite as according to plan. There was a lot of strategizing, discussion on exactly where to set up the ground blind, and right behind the camera is the original planned spot. However, due to several reasons, we decided to put it on the other side, closer to the mock scrape. It'll give us a better look at the food plot, most likely more shot opportunities, and we can also then hunt over both the clover and the big and beastie. So to update you, over the last 3 weeks since I've been here and made another video, we had originally said we were only going to till up half of this plot and turn it into big and beastie. Well, I decided I have the time and I have the seed, I might as well try and use a little bit more. Now, the forecast has been pretty sketchy in terms of trying to get any rain. It's been awfully dry, and the future holds the same. But there may be some periods in between, and they're even talking, it doesn't look like it right now with the sun and the clear skies, but we may be able to get some rain today. So as I'm working on the floor, we'll definitely be looking out for that and seeing if anything will, any precipitation will come down, which then will cause me to go ahead and spread my big and beastie. So as I said earlier, we've tilled up this about 2/3 of the food plot, approximately, and we've left some of the clover. We'll need to come back and mow it so it doesn't compete with any broadleaf weeds. We have also waited a couple weeks for all of the potential remaining weeds to sprout up and flourish, so that way we can spray with Roundup. So we tilled up, waited 2 weeks, came back with Roundup and sprayed, and according to Frigid Forage's planting instructions, we would then wait another week after spraying Roundup and then go ahead and lay the seeds. So it's been a week now, and just waiting on any precipitation. So with that in mind, I'm just going to get right to the jobs, and we'll, before I get going, I'll kind of pan out and show you a few of the things that we've gotten done. So that lower portion in the shade is the additional third that we had not intended to turn into big and beastie. We were just going to leave as clover in my last video, but we decided to go ahead and till that up anyways. And it doesn't look like anything yet. In fact, it looks pretty interesting. However, the posts are set in the cement, and that's going to turn out to be a really nice blind. The bottom, when this is finished, will be OSB, insulation in between the joists with the treated ply on top. Now, in order to get the OSB under, the easiest method is simply just to raise the floor, which will also end up giving us some storage underneath if we wanted to bring out a buck decoy or any other items. I really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun. So our door, just simply due to the height, will most likely end up being on the west side of the blind. We'll have a shooting window going across the front, the south side. Just kind of show you here. Another shooting window right over that scrape right there, where that little tiny branch is hanging down. We'll end up, the reason I chose to go 8 feet floor joist here is it'll allow us to have just ample room. It's a little excessive size-wise, but we're going to brush it all in. I mean, as you can see, there's clearly plenty of dead material to work with. I'll show you over there too. We can just drag it all across. That whole area is lined with dead cedars. So that'll all be chopped up with the loppers, and oops, sorry. Basically just framing the outside of the blind, and since the farmer does not want any of the cedar trees around, we've got permission to go ahead and lop off some fresh limbs, which will help give us some more depth opposed to the bare limb twigs and sticks on the branches. Well, first we're going to finish the floor. Then once we have that, we can start framing out all the walls. And after that, this project is done, and I'm sure I'll have a lot of chores around the apartment to catch up on, which is okay, because I've been putting this priority way up top. And in life, you have to learn to balance. So thank you, Courtney, for being extremely patient. Anywho, I know she'd rather be out here right now than working at the time being, but it is what it is. So I'm just going to wrap up with licking my wounds when I get home, but in the meantime, I've got some trail cameras to attend to. They need to be swapped out with their SD cards, and it's been a while since that's happened, so here's fingers crossed that something is showing up again. We got some alright bucks working their way through this little clover plot, and I'm excited to see what happens. So until next time, we'll see you.